Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing Escape, written by James Patterson and David Ellis. It's book 3 in the Black Book series. Books 1 and 2 were very thrilling, very entertaining and engaging, very gripping as well. The first 2 books were personal for the main character. At the end of book 2, his father was arrested and put in prison because his father killed his wife, or Billy's wife, and framed Billy for the murder. Book 3 is a less personal case for Billy in that respect. So it's not about his family, so it's a different road for book 3, and I like that because it makes it fresher. It freshens up the series a bit and makes this book just as gripping and interesting, but for a different reason altogether. Billy Harney, the main character, and his partner Carla are on the hunt for a killer. Now, Carla was in book 2, Billy's new partner on the force in book 2. She was a very interesting and engaging character, and I do like Carla as a character. Unfortunately, very early on in this book, and I'm not spoiling anything here because it is on the blurb, Carla is killed off in this story. What happens is they track down the killer. They track him down to his house. They get separated. Billy chases the killer. Carla goes into the house to see if she can rescue somebody. And there's an explosion. The house blows up and Carla dies in that explosion. It's a very, very gripping and shocking scene. Even though I knew about it because I read it on the blurb, when I read it in the story, I was still shocked by it. So it's a very, very powerful scene in this book. And it drives Billy to want to bring her killer to justice. And also, this person who killed Carla is a person who's been kidnapping teenage girls. So there's multiple reasons why Billy wants to get this guy and bring him to justice. Billy's superiors on the force aren't happy with his obsession to bring that person to justice. They want to shift him to a different investigation. There's a gang out there, a very powerful gang, called the Imperial Gangster Nation. They've got a lot of control over different things and a lot of money, but the police are having trouble tracking down where the money's going. It seems like the leader of this gang has hired some whiz-kid teenager to launder the money in different ways, and this teenager is such a whiz that the police can't track down what's going on. So what they want to do is they want to arrest the teenager and the leader of the gang for different reasons and see what happens, see what shakes loose. Will the teenager break and give the police what they need to bring this whole gang down? That's the idea. While they're doing that, while they're on the streets tracking down the 2 people they want to arrest, Billy Harney, by accident, comes across a guy walking on the street and takes a second look. And this guy is a dead ringer for the kidnapper they were chasing at the start of the book when Carla was murdered or blown up in the house. Billy chases after the guy and they catch him, and sure enough, it is the same guy. So they got their man, they got this guy who's kidnapping teenagers and who killed Carla, but the guy's not confessing. And also, they think there's another person who's being kidnapped. They've got to find that person. Now, where is she? That's very interesting and engaging in this story because the person they've kidnapped is put in prison. We've got the Imperial Gangster Nation people in the same prison. And for some reason, this person that they caught for the kidnappings, he's murdered in jail. Very violently murdered. And they think the Imperial Gangster Nation is responsible. So what's that connection? Why is there a link between this person kidnapping teenage girls and the Imperial Gangster Nation? They have to work that out, and they think that all the cases they're working on at the moment, these 2 big cases, are closely linked for some reason. Also, even though Billy's trying to forget about his father, who's in prison, his father keeps reaching out to him with advice, and it seems like his father's still getting information from people in the force as well. He knew that Billy was being offered a position on a new task force to investigate the Imperial Gangster Nation. He knows different things about what's going on with Billy on the cases he's investigating. How's he getting his information, and what's it mean? What does that mean that his father's still in the loop? That adds something else to the story as well, a bit of intrigue and suspense, and it seems like it plays in the back of Billy's mind as the story moves on. This is a very, very well thought out story. The plot's so well thought out, the stories mesh and merge so well together, and towards the end everything closes together very tightly. And the ending is very thrilling. There's a big ending. I'm not going to give any more away about the plot or the story. Just say, read right to the end. Wait till that last chapter. Those last few lines in the last chapter, they will blow your mind, and they'll make you really hungry to see what book 4 is going to be. I want book 4 to be out now. I want to read it now. I don't want to wait a year to read book 4. Mason is the teenage whiz kid who's laundering money for the Imperial Gangster Nation. He seems a little bit autistic, maybe slightly on the spectrum, but there's other things going on with him as well. And he's very worried about somebody, it seems, in the story. He just wants to get out of the prison, because he's put in prison, and he wants his phone for some reason. He needs his phone. And he won't tell anybody why. He's just a very, very engaging character. You just feel like there's this teenage kid who's been dragged into some situation that he can't get out of. He's got no control of that situation. And it seems out of his depth in a way. And you just want to kind of rescue him. The police want to rescue him. So you feel like that as well. So it's very well written and very well crafted into this story. Mia is a bartender who works at the bar where Billy goes to often, and a lot of police officers do. She's studying to be a lawyer. Now, I found Mia interesting because I wasn't sure about her. I wasn't sure if she was just trying to get into Billy's good books for the wrong reasons. You know, what's her motive about trying to make friends with Billy? I was never sure about that in this story. That really intrigued me about the Mia character, and even now, I'm not too sure about what her motives are. She seems innocent enough, and Billy and Mia start dating in the story, but what's her true motives? I just get the feeling, I've got a hunch, that she's working for somebody else. Henry is a rich guy who's a suspect in his wife's murder. It seems like he hired people to kill his wife, and they're trying to prove that. He's also tied into the other cases for some reason as well. He's very complex as a character, but he's written very well. I think he's a really good villain in this story. And I found him very engaging and intriguing and intense. When he's in the scenes, they're very intense scenes, and I like the way the characters crafted his persona and his psychology. I like that in this book. He's a very, very interesting character, and he does stick in your mind. He stuck in my mind at the end of the book. Escape is a welcome third book in the Black Book series. I found it very engaging, very gripping, very fast-paced, as this whole series is. You know, James Patterson is very good at those short, fast-paced chapters. There's no filler in this story, well, a little bit, but not too much. Still, in this book, I don't find Billy Harney to be my favourite protagonist in a series. He's okay as a character, but there's other characters in other series I like more. But it won't stop me reading these books, because the books are very entertaining, thrilling and engaging. They hook you in the first chapter. And James Patterson is a great master at hooking people in the first chapter of his books. I rate this a 4 out of 5. It's a great book. I do recommend this series. Start the series from book 1, the Black Book, then read the Red Book, and then read this one, Escape. You know, you can read this as a standalone, but I do recommend starting from book 1. On my channel, I do review other thrillers. If you're interested in those videos, check out my channel and subscribe. Also, on my channel, there's a James Patterson playlist. It should be on your screen now.